Okay guys, back on the documentation page for X-On. Here on the right you have a kind of submenu where you can jump to different parts of this long page here. And the first place I want to jump to is here to keyboard events. Let's go there. Here you have the possibility to add modifiers to your key up event, for example. So the modifiers that you can add here after this key up, for example, is enter, which is the enter key on your keyboard. But also you can have combinations of keys, for example, key up in combination with shift and enter. Let's go a little bit down here, and here it's very nice. There is a small list for common keys like shift and enter, we just had that, then space, control, and so on. Also here is an example with page down. Alright, I especially like the idea of the escape key here, that one, and also of the tab key. I think those two are very useful for accessibility. So I would, for instance, use the escape key to close any modals or pop-ups or open menus and stuff like that. And the tab key, I can imagine, is very useful when you have forms with several input fields, and when you use the tab key to jump from one input field to the next input field, you could do stuff like validation or even storing the value already into the database. So now let's go to the next interesting topic, and these are the custom events. So the custom events work like this, that you first can define your own event by using the dispatch magic function here. So whenever something specific happens in your little application, you can fire an event with this dispatch, and all you do here is give your custom event a name here in the brackets. And then you can listen for your custom event just by addressing this name. For example, here the name is foo, and then you can listen for add foo or X-on:foo. Alright, now let's have a look at some modifiers here. The first one that I already used, and maybe we will do an example later in the course, is this prevent here. This prevent modifier prevents a form from submitting in the usual way. That means going to another web page or going to the same web page. If you put this prevent here and you submit the form is not submitted, but still you can listen to the submit event. So if we look at this example here, you probably know that inside a form, if you put a button, then this button will be automatically a submit button. So in a normal way, if you click on this button, the form is submitted. But if you put submit prevent here, the form is not submitted, but still you can listen to the event that this button was clicked. Also very interesting, I think, is once, debounce and throttle. Let's go to once. So once means that a certain event that might be fired several times is only listened to one time. So maybe you press a button several times, but your application will respond only once. It will respond only to the first click. Then you have debounce. there's a very nice example here. So debounce ignores events that repeat too fast. So they have this example here that if you press a key very fast, like more than 4 times per second, then only the first event is caught and the others are not caught until you slow down with your keystrokes. Only if you have a pause of a default of 250 milliseconds between the keystrokes, then the next keystroke will be listened to. But you can change this amount of time also by putting another amount of milliseconds here after the debounce. And then finally you have throttle, and in throttle it's not like that you have to wait for the next event like 250 milliseconds. It's more from the listener's side, that the listener is only listening every 250 milliseconds. And they have a great example here for the scrolling event. So if you listen to the scrolling event, which is like infinite, if you keep on scrolling a page, then the event is only listened to every 250 milliseconds. They don't write here if you also can change this value of 200 milliseconds. Probably you can, like you can do it up here by just adding another time. At least I assume it is like this. Okay, you can see there's more modifiers available. Just read through them and see if you find something interesting. But I will finish up this lecture now, and in the next lecture we will make a short repetition of what we learned so far. See you there, guys.